I would like to invite some people to begin discussing with me the orientation of this pattern, no matter what you might call it, or whether you're looking at it in, a dimensional point of view or just a flat two-dimensional point of view. To me, it screams something about direction, and that would be movement. And so I don't have anybody to talk about this with, so I am inviting the internet people to join me as I kind of scratch this itch that I have about the direction of the fruit of life and the flower of life pattern. If you look at this book here, this is probably one of the most common sacred geometry books that we could come across that will tell us a lot of information. This is volume 1, and you'll notice on volume 1, he has the flower of life pattern, or the fruit of life pattern, it's in there. You can see that these petals make a vertical axis here, which makes the spheres that I work with in a very specific position. And if you look at volume 2 of the same book in his collection, I'm just looking at these on Amazon, you'll see that the vertical axis it's not vertical, it's horizontal in this case. So for some reason, and I cannot find an explanation, between his two books that are part of the same series, he's placed this pattern in a vertical and a horizontal position. See here, horizontal in volume 2, and in volume 1, the little petals make a vertical axis. So now let's take that back to my model. A few years ago, I was working on the iPad. I was drawing this pattern so that I can kind of remove and add things quite easily and see how, to me, what was spin or movement in this two-dimensional pattern that I had been drawing in for years. And so I eventually came up with this three-dimensional model. They're not fancy, but they're practical in that I can actually see the geometry of how this works. So what I see when I work with the flower of life and the fruit of life pattern, as I do with my mind maps, to me, we have that vertical axis. So this would be like in volume 1 of the book that we just referenced. This is how I work with it. And what I'm actually seeing is that it's not on the flat page, it's standing up vertically, okay? In this time-space experience that we're living in. And so then my fascination was, okay, if you look at this a specific way, you can get that to match up with the same pattern. And so in this case, that would be right here. I have my flower of life pattern in this two-dimensional plane. Let me see if I can set up the stand so I can use both hands for this. Just love spinning that. Isn't that fun? Okay, so we're not actually going to get anything too deep right now. I'm just trying to give you the overarching idea of what I'm trying to reach at here. So in this way, I do not have my flower of life or my fruit of life plane, the flat page like we have drawn here, in any way. Where I see that is if I have it on its vertical axis, then I have this plane right here, this plane, this vertical plane would create that pattern if this was laying down flat. I'm just standing it up to look at it as if I stood my page up to look at it. In this case, this creates 3 axes that come out at us at a bit of a turbine, what Bucky would probably call that. And then there's 3 out of the back. And so this creates a specific sort of motion. And if I haven't said this before, when I see this, this is a sound wave. And so what I'm drawing here are sound waves. So this creates a specific flow of energy if this were a torus, in which I believe it is. So there's like specific ways that I can arrange this geometry in what, we imagine as up and down, which, does that actually exist in space if we're spiraling? I'm not sure. I don't understand these things. So I would love to get imaginative with other people and see what they see and see if they've ever noticed this idea that it can either stay on 3 legs, which creates a specific geometry, in a different plane, or it can stand on 4 legs. Right? And now we have an axis straight out of us. And of course, my model is not exactly perfect. Neither is nature. So I guess that goes along with one another. I'm just creating some visual play to kind of stretch the imagination. And I would like to create some symbolism that goes along with the movement and the direction of this pattern as I use it in my quantum memoir practice. So if this geometry intrigues you and you have some points of view about what I'm getting at, anything that you'd like to add, please let me know.